Hey guys, and welcome to Iconic Guy Weekly Radio and now YouTubing with Ann Campea.
Hey everybody.
Yes, and I am Kaori Takee, and tonight we want to wish you guys happy holidays. We will be out of Iconic Guy Weekly Radio just for 2 weeks, celebrating the holidays.
I'm so sad.
I know, doing all the holiday stuff, but we'll come back with gusto and a lot more pop culture news for sure. And this episode, we are not going to leave you empty-handed. We've got a lot of entertainment news to give you. Good stuff, too.
Yeah. Yeah, tons of stuff, and some stuff that is within the last few seconds.
Literally. So we just got word, but we're not going to say it right now. We'll get into it. But first of all, we wanted to talk about the Total Divas season finale was this past Sunday. And Ann and I are both huge wrestling fans. And this is one of those reality shows that me and her, we actually watch and we we enjoy. And one of the big things for me was there's a lot of engagements in this particular episode. And the one thing that struck me the most and kind of struck a chord for me was Nikki, Bella, and John Cena's relationship. Basically, John Cena is a very good boyfriend, but he does not want children, nor does he want to get married ever. And Nikki, for a while, thought that she might be able to negotiate this or might be okay with this because she wants to be with John Cena. But after seeing Brie and Daniel Bryan's engagement, she's reconsidering if she's willing to make that huge sacrifice. What do you think of that one?
Oh, gosh. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's a deal breaker. I know that the cliffhanger was that Nikki said, I'm going to think about this after John repeatedly told her he's not interested in getting married or having kids. I know that was a cliffhanger, but in any relationship, I feel like that would be the deal breaker when you can't pursue what you want in your future in a relationship. You don't see eye to eye. And the nice thing about John Cena, though, is that he's, like you said, he's a good boyfriend. He's being honest with her. He has never once led her on to believe that he wants a kid or to get married or whatever. So in that respect, he's been completely honest in this relationship, and you have to respect him for that. But if I were Nikki, as hard as it would be to break it off, I think she would have to. If having a family and having kids is very strong in what she wants in her future, then I think that she needs to call it quits.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is one of those situations that I'm sure a lot of women might go through. They encounter a man that they really, really like, but their paths are probably going to go two separate ways. So what do? Do you stick around or do you leave? And that's a really hard decision because you're leaving love versus the unknown. And I think that's what Nikki might be struggling with. And we don't know what's going to end up happening because that's basically how they left us with this cliffhanger. But I think, if Nikki really does want children and if she really genuinely wants to get married, then John Cena might not be the right guy for her. But there are arguments, and I've heard and I've read that some viewers of Total Divas think that she might just want this because she's seeing her sister having this.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, how awkward would it be to be in a relationship where you're seeing your siblings' relationship progress to the point where you want your relationship to progress to, and you're hitting a wall in your relationship, so of course you're going to want that. And look, Kaori and I are at the age where our friends are getting married or our friends are having kids, and there's all this stuff going around, and people moving forward with their relationships. So when that is happening around you, of course, part of you is going to want that for yourself if that's what you have intended for yourself. But for me, it has always been a question of whether Nikki is with John Cena because outside of the wrestling aspect, they are actually in love, or is she in love with the fact that she's in love with John Cena? Right. I've always questioned that, and I hate to do that because I'm sure they have a true relationship in real life, but when it's reality TV, you just never know.
And that's true. I mean, maybe there's a lot of glamour dating John Cena. It's like a trophy guy and vice versa too, of course. I mean, of course, she's a hot chick, so John Cena is going to get some reaction out of that, and that's great. But you got to question her motives, and hopefully she makes the right decision for her.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I agree, but congratulations to Brie and Daniel Bryan. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was going to happen. They are the ultimate power couple. Congratulations. It was beautiful. I really liked how Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, I keep calling him by his wrestling name. I really like how he planned everything. And for those of you that think that it might have been staged, he actually said that he did plan it all out, and it was really, really hard for him to do all this in front of all these cameras at the same time. So that's really cool and really commendable, because a lot of guys have a hard time planning.
Yeah, it was just really sweet and really touching. And the fact that he got the family together afterwards to have, dinner, and there was a lot of thought put into it. Now let's talk about somebody who hasn't put thought into the relationship Eva Marie. I just don't understand how she is with a guy, of course. That's great, but they're engaged now. But how has she never introduced him to her family? And how awkward is it for the guy to then ask for her hand in marriage after maybe a day of having met her father?
I know. That
was really weird.
And I also thought it was really weird that he was having dinner with them with nothing but a hoodie and no shirt on. What a great way to give first impressions.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dad, check out my hot stuff boyfriend here.
And I think Eva Marie was jumping the gun, and when her parents did not give her the okay, how she ran off and stormed off, I thought that her man just agreeing with whatever she wanted to do and going with it, that would have caused more trouble. He's also not thinking.
Yeah.
He should have been like, look, we need to calm down. We need to chill out. We want to do this the right way. But they were both acting like two little kids in elementary school getting married with twigs and a fake priest, Yeah. Like, that's all they wanted to do.
I was like, what? How old are they?
Yeah.
It's questionable, but we'll see. Hopefully the relationship lasts.
Or gets more mature, maybe?
Yes.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. And then, of course, Natty drunk dialing. That was kind of a nice other side of Natalya that we saw. I liked it. It was kind of cute.
I loved it. I mean, come on. Natalya is all about the business. So just to see her be the one to get into a situation like that was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And I love how her and Stephanie just hugged it out. Like,
and they have a bond of royalty, of wrestling royalty. So that was kind of cool. Like, the daughters are very important to people.
Exactly. Natty can do no wrong.
Yes. It's true, though. Go them. Well, today Forbes announced their highest paid actor.
Yes.
Yeah, highest paid actor of 2013. And speaking of WWE, it happens to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, and if you're watching us on video, there is an awesome picture that we just put up of The Rock lifting 40 kilos of weights
per hand.
Holy moly. If you smell how much weights and how much money he has made in 2013.
Yeah.
That is amazing. What was it, like $1.3 billion grossing?
Yeah, $1.3 billion. And you got to think about it. He was in, I'm going to look at this real quick. Fast and Furious 6, G.I. Joe, Retaliation. He was also he's going to do Hercules.
And then he's got Fast 7.
Yes, he's got a lot going on.
Year.
And then he's got all of those mildly known ones. What was the one? Gosh.
He was in a lot of franchises.
He was in a lot of one, yes.
Which I think leads to the fact that he's the top grossing actor for 2013. And respectfully, I love The Rock. I think that he totally deserves it. I follow him on Facebook, so I see what his work ethic is, not only in the gym to get buff, but also to get into character. And if you see the posts he has done for this role leading up to be Hercules, it's incredible the transformation he has made in his physique. And I just really respect his work ethic in terms of moving on with his career and getting into these roles that are really challenging for him. I mean, think about it. He's to me, the most successful WWE person that's come out of WWE.
I agree. I mean, arguably Hulk Hogan, but Hulk Hogan is still just, wrestling. But I think
he's also doing like weird
wrecking ball stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
He's doing appliance commercials. So I don't really know that he's at the caliber of how The Rock is at this point.
No, I agree with you. I think The Rock is someone who's really been able to help merge two franchises himself, WWE movies and just Disney movies too, because he does all kinds of stuff. So I was surprised that he got this top grossing actor of 2013 because I forget about him as an actor, but it makes sense. It really does. So go him.
Yeah.
So we have a news that a very special little person, not really little physically, but just little, well, maybe physically as well.
I think he's a little puny.
Has claimed that he is going to retire after his last album, and that would be Justin Bieber.
Aw, and for those of you seeing the video, there's a cute little picture of him with his baby face. That's not how the Biebs looks now, but I'm sure at one point in time we all loved him when he looked like this.
Yeah, he was really, really cute when he was a little kid, and I loved that baby song. That was my favorite song of all time. And unfortunately, ever since he broke up with Selena Gomez, he's been going a little nutsack.
I think so. Yeah, women always have that effect on guys.
Yeah, they tame them, and then they go crazy when they're not around. And vice versa, of course, that can happen. So yes, Justin Bieber, on Power 106 yesterday, he said that he is going to retire. Now, this kid is, I think, 19 years old.
Yes.
So I'm very surprised that he thinks he's going to retire. I don't think it's going to happen.
I got to throw you a curveball, though, before you get any further.
Go for it.
Because right before we did the show, I went on to see what's going on with the Biebs. And it turns out that when they released the entire interview, it turns out that what he was saying was just a joke. And he was trying to be funny.
Oh, wow. Well, that wasn't very funny. It was just
I don't think so either. I think it was just stupid. And here's what I've been telling Kaori this whole time is that I loved Bieber when he came out. He's starting to turn a little douchey to me. And quite honestly, his butt needs to be sent back to Canada for some good, wholesome family time. And maybe he'll turn into what he was when he came out here to the States, which was a good Canadian kid.
I completely agree with you. He's going crazy. He's, had his bodyguards beat up people allegedly. I'm saying allegedly because this is not like something I know for a fact. And then he's just always been late for concerts, just graffitiing places. He's just out of control.
Yeah.
But he'd have the beeps.
He just needs a little parenting.
Let's
get him back to Canada for a few days, get him cleaned up a little bit, and I think he'll be good to go again.
Maybe we have to watch his movie Believe, which comes out Christmas Day, so we can know the true story behind him. Just kidding. That's not going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about Family Guy, because a couple episodes back, Ann and I were talking about how sad it was that Brian was killed off. Well, guess what, guys? Brian came back from the dead because they somehow managed to bring him back in via script. And I think people like to argue that it's because of the petition. There was a lot of people that were against it, so they brought him back because of that. But the writers really say, no, this was the whole plan the whole time. We were really going to bring him back this whole time. So I'm glad to see Brian's back. Thoughts?
Definitely glad. I totally knew it. No, I didn't. I didn't really know it. We talked about it on the show 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I was totally bummed that Brian was gone and Vinny came in to replace him. But knowing that Brian is now back to life, I'm so happy. And I have this tweet that Seth MacFarlane tweeted saying, "And thus endeth our warm, fuzzy holiday lesson. Never take those you love for granted, for they can be gone in a flash." So do I believe that it was a planned concept? Yes.
I do too.
I completely believe that, but they completely had everybody fooled. I was one of those people that hopped onto the Facebook Rest in Peace Brian page and liked it. So I was totally buying the fact that Brian was dead. So I'm so happy that Stewie fixed his time machine and was able to bring him back.
You use a lot of Facebook pages, don't you?
I do.
You're a Facebook page liker. That's good. That's very, very good. And I want you to bring this up because I don't understand
My boy Shia.
what the heck is going on with this man. But Shia LaBeouf, I hope I pronounce his name correctly because he's got a very cryptic last name. As I have a cryptic first name, so it's okay. He basically has had plagiarism allegations.
Yes.
So do explain to our viewers.
Okay, so my boy Shia, and I say that because I am a fan of Shia ever since he was in Disney Channel doing Even Stevens, up to when he did the Disney movie Holes, and even till about maybe 30 minutes ago was I a fan of his, until we found this story that says Shia LaBeouf's short film howardcantor.com, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival.
Festival de Cannes, okay.
Yes, yeah, I'll let Kaori pronounce that correctly. Is actually plagiarized, and very sadly is almost a carbon copy of Daniel Clo's comic Justin M. Damiano.
I think that's
Damiano.
That's good.
So why is my question? You know, and looking at Shia's reaction, he finally tweeted after all these allegations, and people are saying, what is going on? This is word for word somebody else's work. How can you do this? All kinds of hate coming into Shia. He tweets something that I just don't buy. He says he's embarrassed. He says that he was so caught up in the creative process he neglected to acknowledge somebody else's work. WTF.
Yeah, right. That you just were too busy to acknowledge someone's work because that whole work was someone else's work. That makes no sense to me. First of all, I think he seems like a really smart guy, but he gets himself into a lot of trouble by just doing things and not caring about the outcome or the results of it. One thing that really bothers me is he is a really good actor, and a lot of people want to get behind this guy because he's solid and he picks good movies to be in a lot of times. But he keeps doing things that are a little douchey, turdy, mean, shitty, excuse my French, that really just upsets me and makes me not want to get behind him. He's big, he's huge. For someone of his stature, he should know better that people are going to find out that this is a copied piece of work.
Yeah. It's questionable, and I'm really disappointed as one of his fans, or maybe even a former fan at this point, that he would even do this. I just, like you said, he's a really intelligent person. I've seen interviews with him. Yeah. I've seen the roles that he picks for himself. He's a great actor, but I feel like he's short on the moral and social skills. I don't know how else to say it, but the decisions he makes in terms of his career and these things that he's doing outside of it, plagiarizing, getting into car accidents, doing drugs, all those things, questionable for somebody with his intelligence.
I mean, things that could potentially hurt his career, where it's pretty much where a lot of people are dying for their acting career to be. He is really messing up big time. And I hope that this is his lesson, that he learns that if Hollywood forgives him, which they may, that he, treats people better in the future.
His publicist is probably very, very busy right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think he will have a career in writing, directing anytime soon.
No, not anytime soon, but you never know. I mean, there has been a lot of forgivables in Hollywood, depending on how talented you are. And he is a talented guy. I think so. Okay, so let's talk about some movies. Let's talk about Emilia Clarke, who is Daenerys in Game of Thrones. She has been casted, she's so pretty, she has been casted as Sarah Connor for the Terminator reboot. I love Terminator. I'm not very happy with the idea of a Terminator reboot, but I'm okay actually with her being Sarah. I don't think she's the greatest actress, but I can see her fitting well in this role. And it's so funny because her co-star in Game of Thrones, Lena, I forgot her name.
Lena Headey?
Yeah, Lena Headey.
Yes.
She played Sarah Connor in the TV show.
You know what? That didn't even cross my mind. Yeah. That's hilarious. How ironic is that?
Yeah. So what did you think of this casting?
Funny, you stole all the words right out of my mouth. I mean, exactly the same sentiment, hearing that she's cast in this role. Like you said, it's questionable why they even want to reboot Terminator. I love the first Terminator so much that nothing has compared when every time they've tried to do another one. But I can see her in this role. Sarah Connor has to be tough. She's got to be kind of badass, and so I can totally see her. She does that in Game of Thrones, so I'm happy that she's cast in this role. But let's hope that the film is okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when they reboot, and this has been a trend recently where they're rebooting just really, really good movies that just should stay in the 80s or 90s or the 70s, and they're rebooting them and just making them not as good. And it really makes me nervous. It gets me anxious because these movies can just stay the way they are. Just like, what was it? Total Recall. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. Total Recall is a great example. I was going to bring up Carrie. That was in the recent months.
How many times do we have to reboot Carrie, by the way?
Well, I think that was that the only one. But the thing when you reboot is that the expectations are very high from the fans of the first version of it. So you already have set the bar up here, and then whatever happens is questionable whether it's going to be good or not. But
there is rumor that this Terminator reboot, Arnold Schwarzenegger will come in. So we'll see if that happens. That'd be crazy if it happened. So
it would be awesome if he was coming in his role and not something else, like for a cheesy cameo.
Yeah, he might be able to do that because he is a robot. So he doesn't need to be flexible. Okay, so we just heard less than 20 minutes ago, really huge news that Paul Rudd has officially been casted as Antman for Marvel's film.
Woohoo.
Antman, yes, and
That's
this is exciting.
Very, very exciting. I love Paul Rudd.
I love Paul Rudd too.
And the fact that he's going to portray Ant-Man, and I'll say I'm not too familiar with the character in the comics, but I imagine they picked him for a reason in terms of maybe his stature and his personality.
I think so. And I mean, the other person in the running rumored was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So I can see what they're trying to aim for. I'm not too familiar with Ant-Man myself. I just know that he's really smart and stuff.
Oh, well, then that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because Paul Rudd can play smart.
And he's good looking.
And
he's the whole package.
He's charming, and I don't know. We'll read a little bit more about who Ant-Man is.
Yeah, so forgive us
if of Paul Rudd.
Yes, forgive us if we don't know too much about Ant-Man. We're going to look into it. So, or drop a comment. Let us know what you think. But Paul Rudd also is starring in Anchorman 2, which we managed to see yesterday.
Yes.
And Anne, what are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, I get to go first.
Yes.
I thought it was epic. I thought it was hilarious. I was happy to see Ron Burgundy and the crew back together reading the news after so many years. To me, there was a sense of nostalgia that hit me seeing them in the GNN, the news center that they were hired on by. So I was completely happy with it. I think that there were some moments that were outrageously funny, if I can say that much. So crazy and sometimes stupid that you had to laugh. But for me, that's my kind of humor. So I was all for it. Some people, I'm not sure if they would enjoy that.
I agree with you right there. That's my kind of humor too. And the whole time I couldn't stop laughing. It's just so ridiculous and really smart too, the way it was written. And it is so funny that even though the storyline is pretty crappy, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, we just want to go with it.
Yep. Yep.
It's great. I think all of them did really well. I love Christina Applegate, so it was great to see her in the theaters in the movie because we don't see her often enough. Because I love her because I'm a Married with Children freak.
I'm a big fan too.
Yeah, and then to see all of them back together, it was great.
And there was a lot of throwbacks to the first film, bringing old characters back, like Vince Vaughn's character, and
that was best.
And then a lot of cameos.
Yes,
a ton of cameos. We saw Drake in the first 2 minutes of the film,
and each cameo was just increasingly shocking and funny. It was just so good. Go see that movie. Yeah, you just want to laugh.
We won't spoil it anymore for you guys, but yeah, definitely go see it.
And then we also saw The Hobbit, I'm just thinking, okay, we also saw The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug.
Yes.
And I was thinking right now, and that's why I froze, that we actually got to see it in one of those AMC dining theaters, which I highly recommend. You basically just sit down on like this crazy recliner couch thing, and you got waiters and waitresses coming at you, feeding you stuff. The food's affordable. I mean, really legit stuff. It's like...
Tastes pretty good too, right?
Cheesecake Factory prices, yeah. And it was just heaven.
21 and over, so you don't get the crying babies
in
your theater as well.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, if you're going to watch a 3-hour movie, this is the kind of way to do it, is do an AMC dining experience, any one of those crazy dining experiences where you can sit in a theater with a reclining chair and have people come at you, refill your drinks, give you food. Oh, it was excellent. Anyway, so yes, back to The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. And you go again. What's your thoughts?
Oh, so I talked about this before, but you hadn't seen it yet. So I'm more curious to hear what you think of the film. But again, the second time around, I was very happy to see it, be able to see it twice. To me, my favorite scene continues to be the interaction between Bilbo and Smaug in the lair with all the gold in it and stuff. That, to me, was just a really, really well acted scene. And the fact that Smaug was his character really showed, and he's just a dragon, so the fact that you could connect with a character that's not human was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I agree. They did a really, really good job with Smaug, and Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job with the voiceover, or I guess does he do some of the CGI as well? Perhaps. I don't know.
But he kind of looks like a dragon, so maybe. No, I'm just joking.
He's a really good actor, though. He's a great actor. When he was in Star Trek, the second one, Into Darkness, wow, he was good. Anyway, so I actually liked seeing more of the Wood Elves. Now, Legolas was one of my favorite characters in Lord of the Rings, and it was great to see him come into this and see him have a kind of a love for... Was that considered a love story?
Oh, most definitely. Yes. And it really sets the stage for how Legolas is in the Lord of the Rings films.
That's what I love too, is that you can see why he's bitter towards the dwarves. Not only is it because the elves and the dwarves have some already kind of animosity towards each other, but now the, I guess, questionable love of his life is falling for a dwarf. How does he feel about that?
He'd be kind of pissed.
Yeah. I was a sucker for that kind of stuff, and I really, really liked just the story of the prequel to Lord of the Rings. I just loved it, and I can't wait for the last one. Is it going to be divided into 2 parts?
I believe so.
I don't like when they do that.
But they've done an incredible job of taking what is like a 300-page book to turn it into 2, 3, potentially 4 films. I think that there's a lot of story to tell, so they haven't disappointed us yet. So I'm excited if it's 2 films. The more, the better. Yeah,
in a way. I just don't like waiting for like a year for each thing because I get really antsy. I wish it was at least just 6 months.
Patience.
Yeah.
Grasshopper.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of movies to go out. Like we've mentioned them in the last episode. All these movies that are coming out that we're excited about. We're telling you to go see Anchorman 2. We're telling you to go see The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. And
enjoy the holidays and take... If you don't do anything Christmas Day, theaters are open. Take your time and see all these films in the theaters because I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Movies are always so fun to do. So let us know your thoughts on what movies you've seen. If you like them, drop them out. Drop a comment. And also, you can always catch Iconici's weekly newsletter at their iconicitv.com website, where you can find out the latest in MMA and UFC stuff, and also fashion. You just look at that website. You'll find a lot of entertaining stuff, as well as us. We're on there as well. And in the meantime, guys, follow Ann and I at Team Amasian.
Awesome.
And you can find me right here, Kaorius, Kaorious, Ann.
And you can find me at Ann Campea.
Yes, and then you can find all of us at Iconici TV. And go ahead and subscribe as soon as you can for more fun information. And we will catch you guys in 2 weeks, and have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. We'll see you later.
Happy holidays.
activated blocked